Marriage is one of the most significant decisions you will ever make. It shapes your life, your future, and the lives of your children. But what if the very foundation of your union is flawed? What if you tether yourself to someone incapable of standing with you when the storms of life rage? Stay with me, and I'll show you the red flags you cannot afford to ignore, because the wrong choice here isn't just a mistake, it's a catastrophe that can last a lifetime. Physical beauty is an undeniable aspect of attraction, and charm often serves as the initial spark in any relationship. However, these qualities, as powerful and captivating as they may seem, are transient. They capture attention but rarely sustain connection. Marriages built solely on these fleeting aspects are at risk of crumbling under the weight of time and reality. To build a partnership that endures, you must look deeper into the essence of who a person truly is. This essence is not revealed in grand gestures or moments of perfection, but in the quiet, consistent actions that make up everyday life. A person's true character is found in the choices they make when no one is watching. When faced with the opportunity to cut corners, do they hold themselves accountable, or do they rationalize dishonesty? Do they treat people who can offer them nothing with respect and kindness, or do they reserve decency only for those who can advance their agenda? These seemingly small moments reveal more about a person's inner world than any carefully curated image ever could. The way someone behaves in their most unguarded moments is a window into the principles guiding their life. Relationships often falter when expectations built on superficial qualities clash with the reality of daily living. Someone who captivates you with charm or dazzles you with outward accomplishments may struggle to show up when life demands patience, compromise, or resilience. In marriage, the facade of perfection inevitably gives way to the demands of shared responsibility, financial planning, raising children, and navigating personal and professional challenges. If a person's character cannot withstand the pressures of real life, their beauty or charm will not compensate for their shortcomings. It's also essential to observe how a person handles conflict, because this reveals the depth of their emotional intelligence and capacity for growth. In moments of disagreement or frustration, do they seek to understand and resolve issues, or do they resort to manipulation, deflection, or cruelty? The ability to approach challenges with a spirit of collaboration and respect is a cornerstone of lasting relationships. A partner who avoids conflict or escalates it unnecessarily creates an unstable foundation, no matter how attractive or charming they may appear. Consistency is another hallmark of true character. It's easy to act with integrity in moments of ease, but the true measure of a person is how they behave when life becomes difficult. Pay attention to whether their actions align with their words over time. Do they follow through on commitments even when it's inconvenient? Are they reliable when you need them most? A person who demonstrates consistency in their actions is far more likely to be a stable and trustworthy partner in the long term. Consider, too, how they treat the people in their lives who hold no power over them: waitstaff, customer service workers, strangers on the street. The respect and empathy they show in these interactions are often a reflection of their deeper values. The person who treats others with dignity, regardless of social status or circumstance, is more likely to cultivate a relationship based on mutual respect and compassion. While no one is perfect, the willingness to acknowledge and work on flaws is a vital quality to seek in a partner. Everyone carries insecurities, past mistakes, and unresolved challenges, but how a person chooses to address these aspects of themselves is critical. Do they approach self-improvement with humility and determination, or do they avoid accountability and blame others for their shortcomings? A partner who actively strives to grow and evolve demonstrates a commitment to becoming their best self, a commitment that often extends to their relationships. It's also worth examining the environments they cultivate and the people they surround themselves with. The company someone keeps can be a powerful indicator of their values and priorities. Are they drawn to individuals who inspire and challenge them to grow, or do they gravitate toward relationships that reinforce negative behaviors and habits? The friendships and associations they maintain often reflect their character and worldview, influencing how they approach marriage and family life. Financial habits and decision-making are additional aspects of character that reveal much about a person's inner world. Do they handle money with responsibility and foresight, or are they impulsive and reckless? Financial stability is not solely about wealth, but about the discipline and long-term thinking required to manage resources effectively. A partner who values financial integrity is more likely to contribute to a stable and secure future. It's important to observe how they respond to success and failure. Do they celebrate victories with gratitude and humility, or do they become arrogant and dismissive of others? Similarly, do they approach setbacks with resilience and a determination to learn, or do they spiral into self-pity and bitterness? A person's ability to navigate life's highs and lows with grace and balance speaks volumes about their inner strength and maturity. By prioritizing these deeper qualities over superficial traits, you build a foundation rooted in trust, respect, and shared purpose. It is these qualities that sustain a marriage when beauty fades and the excitement of novelty wears off. Life is long and its challenges are many. The person you choose to marry will be your partner in navigating the complexities of existence. Ensure that their character is one that will stand the test of time. The victimhood mentality is an insidious force that can poison relationships, preventing growth and fostering resentment. At its core, it's the belief that one is perpetually at the mercy of external forces, that life is always happening to them, rather than through them. People who adopt this mindset often feel powerless and helpless, and as a result, they focus on blaming others for their circumstances rather than taking responsibility for their actions. This can be particularly damaging in intimate relationships where both partners are expected to support each other through the ups and downs of life. A person who constantly plays the victim refuses to see themselves as an active participant in their own life. They may refuse to acknowledge their role in conflicts, mistakes, or challenges. Instead of facing the discomfort of self-reflection, they shift the blame onto others, demanding sympathy or assistance while avoiding any accountability. This can manifest in various ways, from a partner who regularly points fingers at others for their own failures to someone who consistently blames their upbringing, their job, or their friends for the struggles they face. In relationships, this dynamic can quickly become toxic. When one partner consistently refuses to accept responsibility, the other is left carrying the emotional weight of the relationship. It becomes an exhausting cycle where the person playing the victim doesn't learn from their mistakes, and the person trying to help ends up feeling frustrated, drained, and unappreciated. This imbalance creates a relationship dynamic where one partner is perpetually seeking validation and support without offering any in return. Instead of being a partnership built on mutual respect and understanding, the relationship becomes one-sided, with one person constantly needing to be rescued, while the other is left feeling hopeless. The danger of the victimhood mentality lies in its ability to distort reality. When a person adopts this mindset, they begin to see every obstacle as an insurmountable challenge, every disagreement as a personal attack, and every minor setback as proof that the world is conspiring against them. This can lead to chronic negativity and despair as they feel trapped in a world where nothing is ever their fault. Over time, this negative outlook can wear down even the most patient and understanding partner, leaving them feeling as if they are constantly fighting an uphill battle. People who embrace victimhood often fail to learn and grow from their experiences. Growth requires reflection, the ability to recognize one's own flaws, and the willingness to change. Someone who constantly blames external circumstances for their problems will never have the incentive to look inward and identify the areas of their life that need improvement. This stagnation can be incredibly frustrating for a partner who values growth and self-improvement. Without a shared commitment to becoming better individuals, the relationship can become stale, unfulfilling, and ultimately unsustainable. It's also essential to recognize that the victimhood mentality often involves a deep-seated fear of vulnerability. In many cases, the person who plays the victim is afraid to confront their own weaknesses or failures. By shifting the blame onto others, they protect themselves from the discomfort of facing their shortcomings. This fear of vulnerability can manifest in many ways, such as defensiveness, withdrawal, or passive-aggressive behavior. Rather than engaging in open, honest communication, the person may retreat into their own narrative of victimization, shutting down any attempts at constructive dialogue or problem solving. This defensive posture makes it nearly impossible to have an authentic, meaningful conversation. Instead of addressing the issue at hand, the conversation becomes about defending their ego, protecting their image, and avoiding personal responsibility. In relationships, this creates an emotional distance that prevents intimacy and connection. A partner who is unable to be vulnerable and take responsibility for their actions will never be able to truly connect with their significant other on a deep level. Vulnerability, after all, is the foundation of intimacy. It requires honesty, self-awareness, and the willingness to expose one's true self, flaws and all. A healthy relationship is built on mutual accountability. Both partners should feel comfortable acknowledging their mistakes, learning from them, and working together to improve the relationship. This requires a level of maturity and emotional intelligence that a person entrenched in the victimhood mentality may struggle to achieve. Without this sense of shared responsibility, it becomes nearly impossible to resolve conflicts in a productive, compassionate way. Instead of collaborating to find solutions, both partners may become entrenched in their positions, unable to move forward or compromise. The victimhood mentality also has a tendency to spread, infecting not only the individual, but the relationship as a whole. One person who adopts this mindset can draw the other into it, creating an unhealthy dynamic where both partners feel trapped in a cycle of blame and resentment. Over time, the relationship becomes a battleground rather than a sanctuary. Each disagreement is an opportunity to score points rather than solve problems. The result is a relationship that is devoid of trust, mutual respect, and love. Breaking free from the victimhood mentality requires a shift in perspective. It requires the courage to acknowledge one's own role in the challenges and conflicts that arise in life. It requires the willingness to stop pointing fingers and start looking inward, to ask the difficult questions and face the uncomfortable truths. This shift is not easy, and it requires both partners to be committed to growth, self-awareness, and mutual support. But without this commitment, a relationship cannot thrive. The victimhood mentality will continue to erode trust, create division, and prevent the deep emotional connection that is necessary for a relationship to flourish. Responsibility is a concept often discussed in theory, but seldom fully understood or embraced in practice. When it comes to relationships, responsibility is not just about doing one's part, but about a deep commitment to one's role in shaping the course of the relationship and taking ownership of the outcomes. It means acknowledging that, no matter the circumstances, each individual has the power to influence their life and the lives of those around them. In a marriage or partnership, this becomes even more critical. A person who rejects responsibility for their own actions, feelings, and decisions can create a foundation of instability and distrust, leaving both partners feeling unmoored. When someone consistently avoids taking responsibility, it sends a message that they are incapable of being an active participant in their life. They may blame their problems on others, the environment, or situations beyond their control. While external factors undoubtedly affect people's lives, consistently shifting blame onto them is a form of denial. It absolves the individual from confronting their own shortcomings and prevents them from growing. Over time, this attitude not only harms the individual, but also their partner, who is left to bear the emotional and practical weight of the relationship. In any partnership, both individuals must recognize that they have a shared responsibility for the health of the relationship. When one person shirks responsibility, the other is left to pick up the slack. This imbalance creates a dynamic where one person is constantly trying to support, fix, and carry the other, while the one refusing responsibility contributes little. This can lead to feelings of resentment and frustration, as the person who is carrying the emotional or practical load may feel unappreciated and overwhelmed. A relationship where one partner refuses to take responsibility is not sustainable, because it lacks balance, mutual respect, and a sense of fairness. Responsibility is not limited to external actions. It extends to emotional regulation and self-awareness. A partner who refuses to take responsibility for their emotional responses and reactions is likely to cause turbulence in the relationship. Emotions are powerful, and when they are left unchecked, they can lead to unpredictable and destructive behavior. If one person in a relationship is unable to recognize or address their emotional triggers, the other may feel like they are walking on eggshells, unsure of when the next emotional outburst will occur. A lack of emotional responsibility creates an unstable environment where one partner constantly feels on edge and unable to relax, which in turn erodes the trust and safety needed to foster intimacy. An individual who avoids responsibility for their actions often finds themselves in a constant state of victimhood. They view the world through the lens of powerlessness, where everything that goes wrong is someone else's fault. This mindset not only stunts personal growth, but also prevents the individual from making meaningful changes to improve their life. If a partner consistently blames others for their struggles, they may resist making any effort to improve themselves or the relationship. For example, if a person continually blames their partner for their unhappiness, they're missing the opportunity to examine their own role in their emotional state. This can result in stagnation and a lack of progress within the relationship. Responsibility is also tied to the ability to make decisions. A responsible person takes ownership of their choices, big and small. They recognize that their decisions impact not only their own lives, but also the lives of others. In relationships, decisions, whether related to finances, family, or future goals, are never made in a vacuum. A person who takes responsibility for their choices understands that these choices have consequences and are part of a broader partnership. When one partner makes decisions unilaterally or without consulting the other, it creates a sense of disconnect and distrust. A responsible partner, however, seeks input, discusses important matters, and recognizes that their decisions affect their shared future. When one person consistently refuses to take responsibility, it undermines the foundation of the relationship. A partnership requires that both individuals be accountable to one another. This accountability doesn't mean blaming or holding the other person's mistakes over the head, but being open to constructive dialogue and growth. It means recognizing that each person's actions contribute to the overall being of the relationship. For example, if a conflict arises, a responsible partner will look at the situation objectively and ask themselves what role they played in the misunderstanding. They may admit when they were wrong, take steps to make amends, and actively seek solutions. Conversely, someone who avoids responsibility will shift the blame, becoming defensive or withdrawing entirely, preventing resolution. Responsibility also means showing up when needed, even in difficult circumstances. Life is filled with challenges, and relationships inevitably face trials. During these times, it is easy to withdraw and avoid confronting the issues at hand. A responsible partner, however, recognizes that relationships require effort, especially during tough times. They stay engaged, offer support, and actively contribute to finding solutions. They don't abandon their partner or leave them to deal with the problem alone. Instead, they approach the situation together with the understanding that both will need to make compromises and sacrifices to navigate through it. In the absence of responsibility, one partner may begin to feel like they are carrying the entire weight of the relationship. This can lead to exhaustion, emotional burnout, and a sense of isolation. If the other person fails to recognize their lack of responsibility or refuses to change, the relationship can begin to feel like an uneven partnership where one person is constantly giving and the other is constantly taking. This is not a sustainable or healthy dynamic. Both individuals must be equally invested in the success of the relationship, and that requires a willingness to take responsibility for their actions, their emotions, and their decisions. In a healthy relationship, responsibility fosters trust and security. Both partners know that they can rely on each other to follow through on commitments and take ownership of their actions. They trust that when issues arise, they will work together to resolve them, with both contributing to the solution. Without responsibility, the relationship becomes a fragile structure easily undermined by inaction, blame, and resentment. To build a strong, lasting partnership, both individuals must take full ownership of their lives and their relationship, recognizing that they directly impact the future they create together. When two people come together in a relationship, they do so with a set of values and beliefs that shape how they approach the world. These values are the compass that guides their decisions, influences their behavior, and impacts their interactions with each other. In a partnership, alignment of values is not just beneficial but necessary for long-term success. If two people come together without a shared understanding of their core principles and vision for life, the relationship is bound to face significant challenges. Even the strongest attraction or best intentions cannot bridge the gap between fundamentally different value systems. Without shared values, a relationship becomes a fragile structure prone to collapse under the pressure of conflicting parties. A person's values define what they believe is important, from how they view the world to how they approach their career, family, and personal growth. These values influence their actions and decisions, and they are often rooted in their upbringing, culture, and life experiences. When two individuals enter into a relationship, they bring with them a set of deeply held beliefs. If those beliefs align, it creates a natural synergy, allowing the partnership to flourish. However, when their values are misaligned, it can create friction that leads to dissatisfaction, resentment, and even disintegration in the relationship. For example, if one person values financial stability and works hard to build a secure future, while the other values spontaneity and prefers to live in the moment, they are likely to experience tension when it comes to making decisions about money, career, and lifestyle. One partner may feel burdened by the other's carefree attitude toward finances, while the other may feel stifled by what they perceive as a rigid, overly cautious approach. Over time, this discrepancy can erode trust and lead to frustration as both partners feel misunderstood and unsupported. Similarly, differing values around family and relationships can create significant strain. One person may prioritize family time and nurturing close bonds, while the other may focus more on personal achievement and independence. These differences can surface in disagreements about how to spend time together, how much time should be dedicated to family, or how responsibilities are shared. If these values aren't addressed and aligned, one partner may feel neglected or unimportant, while the other may feel their need for personal space or autonomy is being compromised. In either case, the relationship suffers as both individuals pull in different directions. Values also influence the way people approach conflict. Some people are naturally inclined to avoid confrontation, seeking harmony at all costs, while others may value open and direct communication, believing that honest confrontation is necessary for resolution. These differing approaches to conflict resolution can cause major issues if not acknowledged early in the relationship. The person who avoids confrontation may feel overwhelmed by the directness of their partner's approach, while the partner who values directness may feel frustrated by the avoidance of important conversations. When these differing approaches are not reconciled, it leads to miscommunication, emotional distance, and the buildup of unresolved issues. The alignment of values extends beyond everyday decisions and into the broader vision of life. What do both partners envision for the future? Do they share similar dreams and aspirations, or do they have vastly different ideas of what constitutes success and fulfillment? If one partner values a quiet, stable life while the other seeks excitement and adventure, it may create tension as they try to build a shared future. These differences may not be immediately apparent, but over time they become more significant as each partner pursues their own path in search of meaning and purpose. One of the most important aspects of shared values is the ability to build trust and mutual respect. When both partners operate from the same value system, they can confidently make decisions and take actions that align with their beliefs, knowing that they are on the same page. This creates a sense of safety and security as both individuals feel understood and supported. Without shared values, however, trust becomes harder to build and maintain. If one person's values consistently clash with the others, it creates a sense of instability that can undermine the foundation of the relationship. The lack of alignment leads to uncertainty and doubt. And over time, it can erode the emotional connection that is necessary for intimacy. Another key aspect of aligned values is the ability to grow together. Life is full of challenges and opportunities for growth, and a strong relationship allows both partners to evolve and change while remaining connected. When two people share common values, they can support each other's growth in a way that is mutually enriching. For example, if both partners value personal development, they can encourage each other to pursue their individual passions, learn new skills, and face challenges with confidence. They will celebrate each other's victories and provide support during setbacks. In contrast, when values are misaligned, growth becomes more difficult. One partner may feel that the other is holding them back or forcing them to compromise their dreams, leading to resentment and emotional distance. Shared values also allow for clear communication and a more efficient resolution of conflicts. When both individuals operate from a similar framework of beliefs, they can approach problems with a shared understanding of what matters most. They can prioritize solutions that align with their values, making it easier to reach compromises and find common ground. In relationships where values are misaligned, however, conflicts become more complicated. Every disagreement can feel like a fundamental clash of principles, and it becomes harder to find solutions that satisfy both partners. In a relationship, emotional stability is one of the most important traits that both partners must cultivate in order to maintain a healthy, balanced, and harmonious partnership. Emotional stability is not simply the absence of emotional outbursts or turbulence, but the ability to understand, regulate, and manage one's emotions in a way that supports mutual understanding, effective communication, and growth. Without emotional stability, relationships are subject to frequent conflict, misunderstandings, and instability, which can prevent any meaningful progress towards shared goals. One of the most significant aspects of emotional stability is the ability to manage one's reactions, especially in moments of stress or disagreement. In any relationship, there will inevitably be moments when emotions run high. Disagreements are normal and challenges will arise, but emotional stability allows individuals to remain grounded during these moments. It prevents one from being swept away by anger, frustration, or fear, which can lead to rash decisions, hurtful words, or destructive actions. A person with emotional stability is able to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully, even in difficult situations, which not only preserves the integrity of the relationship, but also builds a sense of trust and safety. Emotional stability is deeply tied to emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's emotions while also being attuned to the emotions of others. A person who is emotionally stable is in tune with their own feelings and is able to express them in a way that fosters connection rather than division. They are also able to recognize when their partner is experiencing emotional distress and respond with empathy and understanding. This mutual emotional awareness is crucial for building a deep emotional connection, as it allows both partners to feel seen, heard, and supported. Without this stability, misunderstandings and emotional disconnects become more likely, as one or both partners may struggle to communicate their needs or comprehend their partner's emotional state. In a relationship where emotional stability is lacking, one or both partners may be prone to emotional reactivity. This means that when challenges arise, instead of addressing the issue calmly and rationally, emotions take over, leading to impulsive or destructive behaviors. For example, in an argument, one partner may shut down, retreating emotionally and physically, while the other may escalate the situation with heightened anger or defensiveness. This kind of reactivity prevents resolution and leaves both individuals feeling disconnected and misunderstood. The more often this cycle repeats itself, the more entrenched it becomes, until both partners may feel trapped in a dynamic where their emotions dictate their behavior, rather than their reason and desire to find mutual understanding. Moreover, emotional instability can create a sense of unpredictability in the relationship, which undermines the feeling of safety that both partners need in order to thrive. If one partner constantly fluctuates between extreme emotional states, it can make the other partner feel as though they are walking on eggshells, unsure of when the next outburst will occur. This lack of emotional consistency creates an atmosphere of tension and anxiety, where both individuals are constantly on edge. In a healthy relationship, there should be a sense of reliability and calmness where both partners can depend on each other for emotional support without fearing sudden emotional upheaval. This stability allows both individuals to relax into the relationship and invest in each other without the constant worry of being blindsided by emotional outbursts. Emotional stability also allows for better decision-making. When emotions are in control, it's easy to make decisions based on impulse, anger, or fear, which can lead to regret or further conflict. Emotional stability gives individuals the ability to step back from a situation, assess it more rationally, and make decisions that are in the best interest of the relationship. For example, if there is a financial disagreement, An emotionally stable partner will approach the situation with a clear head, considering both their own and their partner's needs instead of reacting out of stress or frustration. They will take the time to communicate their thoughts, listen to their partner, and work together to find a resolution. This kind of measured approach creates a sense of trust and respect, as both individuals know that their partner can handle challenging situations in a calm, composed manner. In addition to handling conflict, emotional stability is essential for fostering emotional intimacy. Intimacy thrives when both individuals feel safe enough to be vulnerable, express their true feelings, and share their deepest fears, desires, and dreams. However, vulnerability is only possible when emotional stability is present. If one partner feels that their emotions are constantly being dismissed, criticized, or ignored, they will be reluctant to open up and share their authentic self. Emotional stability allows both individuals to be present for each other's emotions, offering a safe space for vulnerability without judgment. This shared emotional connection strengthens the bond between partners, creating a deeper sense of closeness and understanding. Emotional stability also supports personal growth within a relationship. In a stable emotional environment, both partners feel supported in their individual journeys of self-improvement. They can face their personal struggles, flaws, and fears without fear of judgment, knowing that their partner will provide encouragement, empathy, and understanding. Whether it's working through past trauma, developing new skills, or overcoming personal obstacles, emotional stability in a relationship creates an atmosphere where growth is not only possible but encouraged. The emotionally stable partner becomes a source of support, not by solving the other's problems, but by creating an environment where both individuals can explore their potential without fear of rejection or criticism. Without emotional stability, growth becomes difficult, if not impossible. In an emotionally volatile relationship, one or both partners may feel stifled, as they cannot progress or evolve in an environment that is constantly in flux. Personal growth requires the space to reflect, learn, and experiment, and that space can only be created in a stable emotional environment. When both partners are able to maintain their emotional equilibrium, they create a fertile ground for personal development, which in turn strengthens the relationship as a whole. The importance of emotional stability cannot be overstated. It is the foundation upon which all other aspects of a relationship: communication, trust, intimacy, growth are built. Without it, relationships become fraught with unnecessary conflict, misunderstandings, and emotional exhaustion. Emotional stability provides a sense of safety and security, allowing both individuals to feel confident, supported, and understood. It encourages healthy communication, respectful conflict resolution, and mutual growth, and it fosters the kind of deep, lasting connection that can withstand the challenges that life inevitably brings. Emotional stability is not just about managing emotions, it's about creating an environment where both partners can thrive individually and together. In any relationship, the ability to communicate effectively is one of the most fundamental skills both partners must cultivate. Communication is the bridge that connects people, enabling them to share their thoughts, emotions, and desires in ways that foster understanding and intimacy. And without effective communication, relationships become strained, misaligned, and ultimately disconnected. Communication is not simply about speaking clearly or expressing oneself. It's about truly listening, understanding, and responding in ways that nurture the relationship. The breakdown of communication can create a rift between partners, leaving them feeling unheard, misunderstood, and emotionally distant. One of the key aspects of effective communication in relationships is active listening. Active listening is the process of fully concentrating on what your partner is saying, rather than just passively hearing their words. This means giving your undivided attention, making eye contact, and offering feedback that shows you are engaged and present in the conversation. It requires setting aside your own thoughts, judgments, and reactions long enough to truly understand what the other person is trying to convey. Active listening fosters connection by showing your partner that you value their perspective and are willing to invest in understanding their feelings and point of view. When both partners practice active listening, it creates a strong foundation for open and honest dialogue, where both individuals feel heard, respected, and validated. Without active listening, communication becomes a one-way street. If one partner is not truly paying attention or is simply waiting for their turn to speak, the conversation becomes a series of interruptions, misunderstandings, and misinterpretations. This often leads to frustration, resentment, and feelings of emotional neglect. When one person feels like they are not being listened to or understood, it can create a sense of isolation and disconnection. Communication ceases to be a tool for building intimacy and trust, and instead becomes a source of stress and tension. Active listening, on the other hand, promotes empathy and compassion, helping both partners feel supported and valued. Effective communication also involves expressing thoughts and emotions in a clear, constructive, and non-judgmental manner. It's easy to become defensive or reactive when discussing sensitive topics, but this often leads to conflict and escalation rather than resolution. To communicate effectively, it's important to be mindful of the language used and the tone of voice. For example, rather than accusing or blaming your partner, it's more productive to use I statements such as "I feel upset when," or "I need help with." This approach allows both partners to take responsibility for their own feelings and actions rather than projecting blame onto the other person. When both individuals can express their needs, concerns, and desires in a calm, respectful manner, it creates an atmosphere where both partners feel safe to open up without fear of criticism or rejection. Another crucial element of communication is nonverbal communication, which plays a significant role in how messages are received and interpreted. Body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice can often convey more than words alone. In fact, studies have shown that a large portion of communication is nonverbal. This means that even if one partner is speaking calmly and articulating their thoughts clearly, their body language or tone may contradict what they are saying. For example, crossing arms, avoiding eye contact, or speaking in a harsh tone can signal disinterest, defensiveness, or frustration, even if the words being spoken are not intended to convey those feelings. Being aware of nonverbal cues and ensuring that they align with the message being spoken is an important aspect of effective communication. It helps create a sense of harmony and consistency between words and actions, ensuring that both partners feel that their emotions are being respected and acknowledged. Effective communication also involves being open and vulnerable. This means sharing not just surface-level thoughts or facts, but also deeper emotions and personal experiences. Vulnerability is key to building emotional intimacy and trust, as it allows both partners to see each other for who they truly are, beyond the masks or defenses they may put up. When partners are able to communicate their fears, desires, dreams, and insecurities without fear of judgment or ridicule, they create a deep emotional connection that strengthens the relationship. Vulnerability in communication also allows both individuals to understand each other's emotional needs and work together to support one another in meeting them. It fosters a sense of closeness and authenticity as both partners feel safe enough to show their true selves. Vulnerability requires a strong foundation of trust and emotional safety. Without these elements, expressing vulnerability can lead to rejection or criticism, which only damages the relationship further. This is why building trust through consistent, open, and honest communication is essential. Trust is the cornerstone of effective communication. When both partners trust that they can express themselves without fear of backlash or dismissal, they feel more secure in the relationship and more willing to share their inner thoughts and feelings. On the other hand, if one partner feels that their vulnerability will be used against them or disregarded, they are less likely to open up, leading to emotional distance and isolation. Communication is not just about expressing feelings, it's also about problem solving and conflict resolution. Disagreements are inevitable in any relationship, but how they are handled determines the outcome. Effective communication enables both partners to approach conflicts constructively, seeking solutions rather than focusing on blame or criticism. Rather than resorting to silence, defensiveness, or aggression, partners can engage in respectful dialogue where both individuals feel heard and understood. This allows them to work together to address the issue at hand, finding a resolution that honors both parties' needs and concerns. Problem solving through effective communication prevents issues from festering and escalating, and it strengthens the relationship by showing both partners that they can face challenges together as a team. In relationships where communication breaks down, misunderstandings and misinterpretations can quickly spiral into bigger issues. What may start as a minor disagreement can turn into a major conflict if communication is ineffective. Without the ability to communicate openly and honestly, partners are left to make assumptions about each other's thoughts and feelings, which can lead to unnecessary tension and mistrust. Over time, this lack of communication can create a rift so deep that it becomes difficult to repair. Effective communication requires ongoing effort and commitment from both partners. It's not enough to communicate well during times of peace or agreement. It must be maintained through all aspects of the relationship, especially during times of stress or conflict. Both individuals must be willing to listen, express themselves openly, and address misunderstandings or disagreements constructively. It's not a skill that can be perfected overnight, but it is one that can be developed with practice, patience, and a mutual desire to strengthen the bond. Communication is the lifeblood of a relationship. It is the means by which both partners connect, share, and support each other. It creates an environment of trust, understanding, and emotional intimacy where both individuals feel heard, valued, and cared for. In the absence of effective communication, relationships struggle to survive as partners become disconnected, frustrated, and resentful. But when communication is practiced with intention and care, it has the power to transform a relationship, making it more resilient, fulfilling, and deeply connected.